to the WrestleCord Entertainment Center. What do I take you folks for? Welcome, folks, once again to another episode of the WrestleCord News Break. I'm your host, Ryan. It's May 12th, 2026, and we're going to get into some of the headlines in the world of pro wrestling and MMA. Last night, WWE's Raw on Netflix came to us live from Knoxville, Tennessee. The show ended with an explosive encounter between the OTC with the WHC Roman Reigns. Jacob Fatu failed to capture the World Heavyweight Gold from Roman at Backlash, and Reigns was demanding that Fatu acknowledge him. The Samoan Werewolf had no intention of that, pulling up in a real sweet ride at the end of Raw. Fatu would go through Jay and then Jimmy Uso on his way to confront Roman in the ring. Roman's reign at the head of the table seemed to be in jeopardy as he was left lying in the ring as a result of the Tongan death grip. Now that we've talked about how the night ended, let's get to how it began, with a big six-man tag match featuring the Vision's trio of Wayward Misfits, Logan Paul, Austin Theory, and Braun Breaker, losing out to the street band of Joe Hendry, Montez Ford, and Angelo Dawkins. It was Montez getting the pin on Theory, with Seth Rollins hopping the guardrail and getting in on the action. Seth would take out all three members of the Vision, much to the chagrin of Paul Heyman. As Rollins checked on Angelo Dawkins, Breaker would go for a spear to Rollins, who did a little Tennessee two-step, allowing Dawkins to take the hit. The Vision would head for the back as Montez and Rollins argued over Seth's act of self-preservation. Also during the night, we saw the Raw appearance of the women's team that is being called the best in the world for some reason, Brie Bella Danielson and Paige Saraya. The Judgment Day met the chance for some hot goss, but the verbal sparring would get the best of them, and it wasn't long before this segment lived up to my expectations, with the Women's World Champion attacking the old friends from behind. It was a 3-on-2 gangbang, but not the kind that gets the MPAA involved. A promo that started as Penta calling out Ethan Page would evolve into a challenge for the IC Gold at Saturday night's main event, before devolving into a match pitting Rusev against Javon Evans. Evans tried hard to combat the size advantage the Bulgarian Brute had, but Rusev would dominate much of the fight. In the end, Javon would get the pin with the OG cutter. Obafemi would be in search of another challenge, but he had no takers this time around. So he went searching for one in gorilla position, which is where he found his competition in Humberto Gorilla and Angel Garza. I forgot they still work there. The duo didn't want to participate, but like a lifer in prison, Oba wasn't looking for consent. It wouldn't take but a second for Oba to complete this week's challenge, flawless victory. Women's singles action would give us Sol Ruka versus Io Sky. Ruka impressed, but Io was up for the challenge as she avoided the Soul Snatcher and used a quick crucifix to roll up for the 1, 2, 3. The only title match on the card saw AAA Gold on the line, with the Mega Champion Dirty Dom defending his belt against the masked American El Grande Americano Authentico. A distraction from Rayo Bravo and Nuevo would give Mysterio the opportunity to hit 619 and a frog splash for the win. Once again, folks, those results are in no particular order, so don't blame me if you can't follow along. Watch the show. Ronda Rousey, who will be facing Gina Carano on May 16th at the Inuit Dome in Inglewood, California, recently spoke with Complex News. Who are they? I don't know, but apparently they have almost 2.4 million subscribers. Go figure. In the interview, Ronda was speaking with Complex would talk about her upcoming fight, saying it would be the most viewed fight in MMA history. To quote her exactly, "I'm expecting this to be the most viewed MMA fight of all time. It's the first MMA fight on Netflix, and we've got the biggest stars in the sport, and Gina is my dream fight. She's the only person I would come back to fight for, and she's the whole reason why I got into fighting in the first place." The WrestleCord Network needs to now provide this disclaimer that we do not condone or endorse the statements made by Ronda Rousey. We're about journalistic integrity, not fanciful ramblings of a delusional narcissist. Moving on, Melissa Guthrocks. I don't know if I got that wrong. Don't blame me. You go look it up. The former accountant for Hulk Hogan has been indicted on charges of embezzling funds from a public figure at the tune of $890,000. Hogan was not listed as a public figure, but she was still working for the Hulkster at the time she was stealing the funds. This reporter has a bit of a hunch as to who her boss may have been. In other legal news, All Elite Wrestling filed a $4.9 million lawsuit against Triller Group Inc. along with Triller TV. Surprising to me as well that they are in fact affiliated. These are for funds owed to AEW, who provided content for Triller TV, including Dynamite, Collision, pay-per-views, and a back catalog of events which included Rampage and the Dark and Dark Elevation series. Some of that almost $5 million comes from 2% interest a month that has accrued over time. The amount of money owed seemed to be a direct catalyst for the development of the new MyAEW.com service, which launched back in March. It looks like the former New Day members, Kofi Kingston and Xavier Woods, are back on the circuit. Their first post-WWE public appearance is already set. They're not taken to the ring, but they'll be taken to the booth. Commentary? No. They'll just be doing an autograph signing. How exciting. This will take place at the Galaxy Con in Oklahoma City on May 23rd and 24th at the Oklahoma City Convention Center. The pair will be billed as Austin Creed and Kofi. I think you can figure out who's who. Who? Sorry, don't know what got into me. To close our show, let's go over the lineup for tonight's NXT on the CW. We'll get the return of Noam Dar. Noam Dar hasn't been seen in NXT in 11 months after suffering a leg injury during a match. During an attack by an unknown assailant backstage, who would later be revealed as All Ego Ethan Page. With Ethan Page now gone, it's wondering who Noam Dar will put all his focus on next. Also, Tatum Paxley teams with the newcomer Lizzie Rain to battle Zarya and Nikita Multimedia Lions. The Birthright will battle E.K. Prosper, Tate Wilder, and Shawn Legacy, plus Kalani Jordan versus Kendall Gray. Then finally, the big debut of former IWGP Heavyweight Champion Evil, now simply known as Nuraku. As of this broadcast, there has been no word yet on who his potential opponent could be. And with that, folks, we come to the end of another exciting episode of the WrestleCord News Break. I'm Ryan, signing off, hoping to see you all again tomorrow.